Captain HFY stared at the star map floating above his command console. The bright dots of solar systems stretched across the galaxy like scattered gems, but at one edge they simply stopped. A clear line divided known space from nothing. Beyond that line, the map showed only empty black. "Why does the map end there?" asked Thex, the young navigator. His green skin glowed softly as he leaned over the display. Like all Kethmori, he loved learning new things. Surely there are more stars beyond that line. The bridge fell silent. HFY noticed how his crew suddenly found other things to look at. Jorak, his weapons officer, actually took a step back from the display. The old Jaktul warrior had fought in 12 battles, but now he looked scared. "Don't ask questions about the red line, boy," growled Vesh from the engineering station. The Veltaran's tentacles curled tight around his tools. "Some knowledge is dangerous." Thex's large eyes grew confused. "But we have ships that can travel faster than light. We have explored thousands of systems. Why would we stop exploring?" HFY closed his eyes for a moment. Every pilot in the galaxy knew the answer, but no one liked talking about it. "Because that's where human space begins," he said quietly. The young navigator looked even more confused. "Humans? But they're just one species. They only have a few colonies. Why would that stop us?" Jorak made a harsh sound that might have been laughter. "A few colonies? Is that what they teach in the academy now?" "The humans have been quiet for 50 years, Vesh said, his voice barely above a whisper. "No trade, no communication, no ships crossing the red line in either direction. That's how we like it." Thex shook his head. "I don't understand. What makes humans so dangerous?" HFY looked around his bridge at his crew of different species. Veltarans with their flexible tentacles and sharp minds. Kethmori with their logical thinking and love of science. Jaktul warriors with their honor and strength. All of them united by one simple rule that every pilot learned. "Because humans don't follow the rules," HFY said. "When our species meet other species, we trade, we make agreements, we respect borders. Humans do something else." "What do?" Thex asked. "They take," Jorak said simply. "They take everything." The ship's communication system beeped. A message was coming through. HFY opened the channel and a hologram appeared above the bridge. It was Commander Rixtel of the Galactic Trade Authority. "Captain HFY," the commander said. His blue scales seemed dull with worry. "We have an emergency mission for you." "What kind of emergency?" HFY asked. "A medical supply run to Colony 77 Beta. They have a plague. Without medicine, 30,000 people will die within days." HFY nodded. Medical runs were common. "Send me the coordinates." The commander hesitated. "The colony is close to the border." "How close?" 2 light years from the red line. HFY felt his stomach drop. Flying near human space was dangerous enough, but manageable. "We can handle that." "There's more," Commander Rixtel continued. 3 other ships have tried to reach the colony. None made it. What happened to them? We don't know. They stopped responding once they reached the border region. Jorak stepped forward. "Commander, with respect, this sounds like a trap." "A trap set by whom?" Commander Rixtel asked. "You know by whom," Vesh said quietly. The commander's scales turned even more dull. "The colony is dying, Captain. Children are dying. Someone has to try." HFY looked at his crew. He saw fear in their eyes, but also duty. They were traders and explorers. Saving lives was part of their job. "We'll take the mission," HFY said. After the commander's hologram disappeared, the bridge stayed quiet for a long time. Finally, Thex spoke up. "Captain, what really happened 50 years ago? Why is everyone so afraid of humans?" Jorak laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You want to know about humans, boy? I'll tell you what I know." The old warrior sat down heavily. 50 years ago, the Jaktul Empire was the strongest military force in the galaxy. We had conquered 40 systems. Our weapons were the best. Our warriors never lost a battle. Thex nodded. Everyone knew about Jaktul military power. Then we met humans, Jorak continued. They were new to space travel, weak ships, simple weapons. We thought they would surrender quickly. But they didn't. "Oh, they surrendered," Jorak said. After. They destroyed half our fleet. Thex's eyes grew wide. How? They didn't fight like us, Jorak explained. We fight with honor. We follow rules of war. Humans did whatever worked. They used tactics we had never seen. They turned our own weapons against us. They made our ships fight each other. Vesh nodded. From his station. The Veltaran Republic tried to negotiate with them. We offered them trade agreements, technology sharing, peace treaties. What did they say? Thex asked. They said yes to everything, Vesh replied. Then they took our technology and made it better. They learned our languages perfectly. They understood our culture better than we did. Within 10 years, we weren't sure who was negotiating with whom. Zexhai began plotting their course to the colony. The Keth Mori had a different experience, he said. Humans came to our worlds as students. They wanted to learn everything. Our science, our history, our philosophy. That doesn't sound so bad, Thex said. It wasn't bad at first, Zexhai agreed. They were excellent students. They learned faster than anyone we had ever taught. But then we realized something strange. What? They weren't just learning from us. They were learning from everyone. Every species they met, they absorbed their knowledge, and they shared everything with each other instantly. Jorak stood up and walked to the viewing window. Space stretched out before them, full of stars and mysteries. Do you know what's really scary about humans, boy? What? They're still out there. 50 years of silence, but they haven't gone anywhere. Those stars beyond the red line? They're full of human colonies now, thousands of them. Thex looked at the star map again. How do you know? Because sometimes our deep space sensors pick up signals from beyond the line, Vesh said quietly. Not human signals. Signals from our own people. Jactul military codes. Veltaran trade frequencies. Keth Mori scientific broadcasts. But that's impossible, Thex said. No one crosses the red line. Officially, no one crosses it, Zexhai corrected. But ships disappear near the border. Exploration vessels go missing. Pirates vanish without a trace. You think humans are taking them? I think humans are collecting them, Jorak said. Ships, technology, people, everything that comes close enough. The ship's navigation system chimed. They were approaching the colony's system. Zexhai could see it on the long-range sensors, a small green dot orbiting a yellow star. Captain, Thex said, his voice worried. Look at the display. Zexhai looked at the star map. The red line was clearly marked, and they were still safely away from it. But something was wrong with their sensors. Strange energy readings flickered at the edge of their detection range. What are those signals? Thex asked. Zexhai felt cold, fear creep up his spine. Those signals were coming from beyond the red line, from human space. I don't know, he said, but I think they know we're here. 3 days later, Zexhai's ship arrived at Colony 77 Beta. The planet looked sick from space. Brown clouds covered areas that should have been green. The orbital stations around the planet sent out continuous distress signals. Medical. Supplies delivered successfully, reported Vesh from the cargo bay. The colony doctors say the medicine should stop the plague within a week. Zexhai nodded and began plotting their course home. But before he could start the engines, a new signal came through their communications system. This one was different, weaker, desperate. This is Research Station Kappa 9, the voice said. It sounded like a Keth Mori scientist. We are drifting in space. Our engines are dead. Life support failing. Please, someone help us. Thex quickly traced the signal's origin. His green skin went pale. Captain, that signal is coming from beyond the red line. The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the coordinates on the display. The research station was 3 light hours inside human space. How did they get in there? Jorak asked. Station drift, Vesh said quietly. Sometimes stations in deep. Space lose position control. Gravity from nearby stars pulls them off course. Zexhai opened a channel to the research station. Kappa 9, this is Captain Zexhai. What is your situation? Captain! The scientist's voice was full of hope. Our station lost power during an experiment. We've been drifting for 6 days. We crossed into the restricted zone before we could stop ourselves. How many people are on your station? 300. Scientists, technicians, and their families. We have children here, Captain. HFY closed his eyes. Children. Always children. In these situations. Captain, the scientist continued, my sister is Veltel. She works for the Kethmori Science Council. She might know you. HFY's hearts stopped beating for a moment. Veltel was his mate. Her sister Nixara was a brilliant researcher who had been working on some secret project. Nixara is your sister? He asked. Yes, you know her. HFY looked at his crew. Jorak was shaking his head slowly. Vesh had gone completely still. Thex looked confused and scared. Captain, Jorak said carefully, we can't go in there. Famai. Mate's sister is on that station, HFY replied. 300 people are going to die, Vesh added, including children. If we cross the red line, we might all die, Jorak argued. Thex pulled up the navigation charts. The station is only 3 hours inside the boundary. We could get there quickly, attach a tow cable, and pull them back across the line. And if humans find us? Jorak asked. Maybe they won't, Thex said hopefully. Humans have been quiet for 50 years. Maybe there's nobody there. HFY stared at the red line on his display. Every pilot knew the rule. Never cross it. Never even get close. But 300 people were dying, and one of them was family. Prepare for jump to human space, he ordered. Captain, Jorak said, I must formally protest this decision. Protest noted and recorded, HFY replied. But we're going anyway. The ship turned toward the red line. As they approached, their sensors began showing strange readings. Space itself seemed different here. Denser, more energy signatures than normal. FTL drive ready, Vesh reported, but his voice sounded worried, though the readings are unusual. What kind of unusual? The quantum field structure is different here. It's like someone has been changing the fundamental properties of space. Thex checked his instruments twice. Captain, our star charts don't work beyond this point. The navigation computer says there's no data for the region we're entering. Of course there isn't, Jorak muttered, because no one who goes in there ever comes back to update the charts. HFY took a deep breath. Jump! The ship leaped forward into faster-than-light travel, but immediately something felt wrong. The usual smooth feeling of FTL was gone. Instead, the ship shook and vibrated. What's happening? HFY asked. The FTL drive is having problems, Vesh reported. The space here doesn't respond to our engines the same way. Can you fix it? I'm trying, but it's like the physics are different here. On the main display, stars appeared and disappeared in patterns that made no sense. Thex stared at his navigation instruments with growing panic. Captain, this is impossible, the young navigator said. According to my readings, there are thousands of objects in this region of space. What kind of objects? Ship signatures, thousands of them. But that can't be right. Intelligence reports say humans only have maybe 50 ships total. Jorak moved to the sensor station and checked the readings himself. His warrior training included ship identification. What he saw made his blood run cold. Captain, he said slowly, these signatures, I recognize some of them. What do you mean? That one there, it's a Jacques battle cruiser. The design is 50 years old, but the energy signature is wrong. Too powerful. Vesh looked at his own screens. This one shows Veltaran technology, but improved. The power output is 3 times what our ships can produce. Thex pointed to another signal. Kethmori science vessel, but the sensor array is enormous, much bigger than anything we've ever built. They're collecting ships, HFY realized. Just like the stories said. The ship dropped out of FTL suddenly. They were now in normal space, 3 hours inside human territory. Ahead of them, they could see Research Station Kappa 9. It looked normal. Too normal. Station is broadcasting on standard frequencies, Thex reported. Life support is failing, just as they said. But Jorak was studying the wider area around the station. Captain, look at these readings. On the display, he showed 3 small objects near the research station. They weren't moving, just floating in space like debris. What are they? HFY asked. Unknown. But they're definitely artificial, and they're positioned perfectly to watch the station from all angles. Vesh ran a deep scan. They're not broadcasting any signals. No energy signatures. They look dead. Or sleeping, Jorak said grimly. Zexhai opened communications with the research station. Kappa 9, this is the rescue ship. We're approaching your position. Thank the gods, came the reply. We're so happy to see you. Please hurry. Our life support has maybe 6 hours left. Understood. We'll attach tow cables and pull you back, across the border. Captain, Thex said quietly, something's wrong with our FTL drive. The quantum field here is too unstable. We might not be able to jump back. Zexhai felt ice in his veins. How long to fix it? I don't know. Maybe hours, maybe days. We don't have days, Vesh said. If humans find us here, then we work fast, Zexhai decided. Attach the tow cables. We'll pull the station to the border using normal engines if we have to. As they approached the research station, Thex kept watching those 3 mysterious objects. They still weren't moving, but something about them made him nervous. Captain, he said, what if those objects aren't debris? What else would they be? What if they're probes, watching and waiting? Before anyone could answer, all 3 objects suddenly came to life. Lights flickered along their surfaces, and they began moving toward Zexhai's ship. Captain, Jorak shouted, we've got company! 3 ships materialized out of nowhere around them. They were sleek and deadly looking, but their design was wrong. Parts of them looked Jacques Toul. Other parts looked Veltaran. Still other sections were clearly Kethmori technology, but everything had been changed, improved, made better than the original designs. Where did they come from? Thex asked in panic. They were invisible, Vesh said, staring at his instruments. Completely invisible to our sensors. A communication channel opened. A voice spoke in perfect Veltaran language. Attention, unknown vessel. You are in violation of the Terran quarantine zone. Please state your business. The voice was calm and polite. It was also completely terrifying. This is Captain Zexhai, he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. We're here to rescue the research station. Understood, Captain. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Acquisition. We're here to help. Zexhai looked at his crew. They all had the same thought. Humans. Captain Sarah Chen's face appeared on the main screen. She looked human, but there was something different about her. Her eyes were too sharp, too knowing. She smiled, but it wasn't a friendly smile. Captain Zexhai, she said in perfect Veltaran. Her pronunciation was so good that for a moment, Zexhai forgot she was human. We don't get many visitors in this region. We're just here to rescue the research station, Zexhai replied carefully. We'll leave as soon as we can. Of course, you will, Chen said. But first, let's talk about payment. Payment? Thex asked. For what? For crossing into human space without permission. For the rescue operation we're now providing. For safe passage back to your territory. Chen's smile grew wider. Everything has a price, young navigator. Jorak stepped forward. What kind of price? Information, Chen said simply. Tell us about your ship, your weapons, your FTL drive, your recent travels, your crew, your mission parameters. We can't give you military information, Jorak said. I didn't ask for military information, Chen replied. I asked for everything. On the screen behind Chen, Zexhai could see her ship's bridge. It was strange. The technology looked familiar, but wrong. Control panels that seemed Kethmori, but more advanced. Weapons displays that looked Jacques Toul, but more sophisticated. Communication systems that resembled Veltaran designs, but better. Your ship, Zexhai said slowly. Where did you get that technology? Chen turned to look at her own bridge. Then, back at the screen. This old thing? We built it ourselves. Well, mostly ourselves. We had some help from previous visitors. Previous visitors? Oh, yes. We've had many guests over the years. Trade ships that got lost. Exploration vessels that strayed too far from home. Military patrols that thought they could scout our territory. Chen paused. They all contributed to our knowledge base. Vesh spoke up from his station. What happened to those ships? Some decided to stay with us permanently. Others returned. home with modified memories and new perspectives on human-alien relations. Modified memories? Thex asked. We find that visitors often have trouble processing what they see here. It's easier for everyone if we adjust their recollections to something more manageable. HFY felt cold fear creeping through his body. You alter people's minds. We help them forget things that might cause psychological trauma, Chen said, calmly. It's quite humane, really. On the sensor display, HFY could see more ships appearing around them. Not just 3 now, but dozens, all of them using the same mix of technologies from different species. Captain Chen, he said, we just want to rescue the research station and leave, and we want to help you do that, Chen replied. But first, let's take a tour. A tour? Of our facilities. I think you'll find them interesting. Before HFY could refuse, his ship shuddered. Some kind of force field had wrapped around them. They were being pulled toward one of the human ships. Captain, Vesh called out. They've got us in a tractor beam. I can't break free. Don't try, Chen said pleasantly. You'll just damage your engines. Jorak reached for the weapons controls, but Chen shook her head. I wouldn't recommend that, Commander. Your weapons are impressive, but we've had 50 years to study Jaktul military technology. We know exactly how your guns work. The human ship was enormous up close. As they were pulled into its docking bay, HFY could see other ships already. Docked there, a Veltaran trader, 2 Kethmori science vessels. What looked like a Zaktul patrol ship. What happened to those crews? Jorak asked. They're safe, Chen said. Most of them are working for us now. The docking process was smooth and efficient. Too efficient. The docking clamps fitted perfectly to HFY's ship, even though it was a Veltaran design that humans should never have seen before. How do you have the right docking equipment for our ship? HFY asked. We have docking equipment for everyone's ships, Chen replied. We like to be prepared. As they walked through the human ship's corridors, HFY noticed more familiar technology. The wall panels looked Kethmori, but they displayed information in ways that no Kethmori engineer had ever imagined. The gravity generators were clearly based on Veltaran designs, but they were smaller and more powerful. This is our main engineering section, Chen said as they entered a massive room. Would you like to see how we improved your FTL drive design? In the center of the room was an FTL engine that made HFY's heart stop. It was clearly built from Veltaran technology, but it was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. Every HFY component had been perfected. Every design flaw had been fixed. How? Vesh whispered. Practice, Chen said. Lots and lots of practice. Thex was staring at a wall display that showed star charts. But these weren't like the charts he knew. They showed thousands of systems, all connected by travel routes that seemed impossible. These maps, he said, they show the whole galaxy. Most of it, Chen agreed. We've been busy. But galactic maps only show our local region. No one has explored the far rim. No one except us, Chen corrected. We don't limit ourselves to local regions. They continued the tour through sections. That got stranger and stranger. A laboratory where human scientists worked alongside aliens from species HFY had never seen. A manufacturing area where ships were being built using technology from dozens of different worlds. Where do you get all this technology? Jorak asked. From visitors like yourselves, Chen said. Every ship that comes here teaches us something new. And if we refuse to teach you? Chen stopped walking and turned to face them. For the first time, her pleasant expression changed. Something cold and calculating showed in her eyes. Everyone teaches us something, Commander. Sometimes people are willing teachers, sometimes they're not. But everyone contributes to human knowledge. They entered what Chen called the observation deck. Through massive windows, HFY could see space around the human ship. What he saw made him feel sick. Hundreds of ships floated in the void. Ships from every major galactic power. Some were intact, being studied by human engineering teams. Others had been taken apart, their components sorted and cataloged. Still others were being rebuilt with human modifications. This is just one collection point, Chen said casually. We have dozens of facilities like this throughout human space. You're stealing from the entire galaxy, Vesh said. We prefer the term collaborative research, Chen replied. Every species contributes what they do best. Joktul provide military innovations, Veltarans share manufacturing techniques, Keth Mori offer scientific discoveries, humans coordinate and improve everything. What about the research station we came to rescue? Zexhai asked. Chen smiled again, and this time it was genuinely amused. Oh, Kappa 9 isn't in any danger. Their life support is working perfectly. But they said what we told them to say, Chen interrupted. Research Station Kappa 9 has been working with us for 3 months. Their accident was carefully planned to bring someone exactly like you into our space. Thex looked confused. Someone like us? A medical ship, with a small crew, flying near the border. Chen nodded approvingly. Perfect for our needs. What needs? Zexhai asked, though he was afraid of the answer. We need to understand Veltaran medicine. Your ship's medical supplies are quite interesting. We need to study Kethamori navigation systems. Young Thex has been using some fascinating new techniques. We need to examine Joktul military doctrine. Commander Jorak's tactical training could be very useful. And if we refuse to help you? Chen walked to another window. Outside, Zexhai could see the research station they had come to rescue. It was surrounded by human ships, and it was clearly not in distress. Captain, Chen said quietly, in 50 years, no one has ever refused to help us. Some people take longer to understand than others, but eventually, everyone sees the benefits of cooperation. What benefits? Safety, security, the knowledge that you're part of something greater than yourself. Chen turned back to face them. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Captain. Wars between species, resource conflicts, territorial disputes. Wouldn't it be better if everyone worked together? Under human control, Jorak said. Under human coordination, Chen corrected. We don't want to rule anyone. We just want to make sure that all the galaxy's knowledge and technology is used efficiently. Zexhai looked at his crew. Thex seemed fascinated by what he was seeing. Vesh looked terrified. Jorak looked angry. What if we want to leave? Zexhai asked. Then you'll leave, Chen said. With our blessing and our gratitude. Of course, you'll need some minor modifications first. What kind of modifications? Chen's smile returned. The kind that makes sure everyone benefits from this encounter. Captain Chen led them deeper into the human ship. The corridors seemed to go on forever, filled with technology that shouldn't exist. Zexhai saw robots that moved like living creatures, computers that thought faster than any Keth Mori brain, and weapons that made Joktul military equipment look like children's toys. This way, Chen said, stopping at a door marked with symbols from 12 different languages. I want to show you something special. The door opened to reveal a massive command center. Hundreds of humans and aliens worked together at stations that monitored the entire galaxy. Holographic displays showed star systems, trade routes, and ship movements across thousands of light years. Welcome to Central Coordination, Chen said proudly. From here, we track everything that happens in galactic space. Thex stared at the displays in wonder. How is this possible? No one has this kind of monitoring capability. No one except us, Chen replied. We've been building this network for 50 years. Every ship we encounter adds to our knowledge. Every technology we study improves our systems. On one wall, a massive display showed the galactic map that every pilot knew. But this version was different. Instead of stopping at the red line, it continued deep into what was supposed to be human space. And what Zexhai saw there made his blood run cold. The region beyond the red line wasn't empty. It was full of activity. Thousands of star systems connected by shipping lanes, massive space stations orbiting dead stars, industrial complexes that made galactic manufacturing centers look tiny. You've colonized the entire outer rim, Vesh whispered. Colonized is the wrong word, Chen said. We've organized it, made it efficient, turned empty space into something useful. Jorak pointed to a section of the map where hundreds of ships moved between systems. Those ship signatures, they're not human designs. Of course not, Chen agreed. We use the best designs from every species. Why limit ourselves to human technology when the galaxy has so much to offer? A young human technician approached them. Captain Chen, the Veltaran trade convoy from Sector 7 has arrived. Should we begin the integration process? Integration process? Zexhai asked. Chen nodded to the technician. Yes, begin standard protocols, full analysis of cargo, crew interviews, and technology assessment. She turned back to Zexhai. A Veltaran trading fleet got lost near our border last week. We've been helping them with navigation problems. Helping them how? By upgrading their ships, improving their trade routes, teaching them better business practices. Chen smiled. When they return to Veltaran space, they'll be much more successful. And you'll know everything about Veltaran trade networks, Jorak said grimly. Knowledge is the most valuable commodity in the galaxy, Chen replied. We just make sure it's shared properly. They walked to another section of the command center. Here, the display showed something that made Thex gasp in shock. Detailed maps of every major galactic power, military installations, government centers, industrial facilities, everything marked and cataloged. You're spying on everyone, Thex said. We're gathering information, Chen corrected. Information that helps us maintain galactic stability. Whose stability? Jorak demanded. Everyone's stability, Chen said calmly. Do you know how many wars we've prevented in the last 50 years? What wars? Chen walked to a control panel and brought up a new display. It showed projected conflict zones throughout the galaxy. Red areas where different species were likely to fight over resources or territory. The Jacques-Toul Empire was planning to invade the Keth-Mori research colonies, she said. We made sure they received better intelligence about Keth-Mori defensive capabilities. The invasion was canceled. How did you? Jorak started to ask. The Veltaran Republic was about to start a trade war with the Outer Rim Alliance, Chen continued. We arranged for both sides to discover new trade routes that benefited everyone. Vesh looked confused. You manipulated galactic politics? We guided galactic politics, Chen said, toward better outcomes for everyone involved. They moved to a section where aliens from dozens of species worked alongside humans. Zexhai recognized some of the species, but others were completely unknown to him. Who are they? He asked, pointing to a group of tall, silver-skinned beings. The Silvani, Chen replied. They're from the far galactic rim, excellent metallurgists. They've been teaching us new techniques for starship construction. I've never heard of the Silvani, Thex said, because they've never made contact with the main galactic powers, Chen explained. We found them during our expansion into the Outer Rim. Now they're part of our coordination network. You mean they work for you? Jorak said. They work with us, Chen corrected. Just like everyone else here. A Keth-Mori scientist approached their group. Zexhai recognized her as someone from his own home system. Dr. Kivtel, he said in surprise. You disappeared 3 years ago. Everyone thought you were dead. The scientist smiled warmly. Captain Zexhai, how wonderful to see you. I'm not dead, just relocated. I'm working on the most amazing projects here. What kind of projects? Improved FTL technology, new medical techniques, advanced computer systems. Dr. Kivtel's eyes shone with excitement. The humans have resources and knowledge that no single species could match. But you can't leave, can you? Jorak asked quietly. Dr. Kivtel looked confused. Why would I want to leave? This is the most important work in the galaxy. Chen led them away from the scientist. Dr. Kivtel came to us voluntarily, she explained. Her research ship had engine problems near our border. We helped her, and she decided to stay. How many others have decided to stay? Vesh asked. Thousands, Chen said without hesitation. Scientists, engineers, pilots, traders. People who want to be part of something bigger than their home worlds. They entered a new section that looked like a massive library. But instead of books, it contained data, crystals, memory cores, and storage devices from hundreds of different civilizations. This is our knowledge archive, Chen said proudly. Everything we've learned from our encounters with other species. Thex walked among the storage units in amazement. This represents the combined knowledge of the entire galaxy. Most of it, Chen agreed. We're still collecting from some regions. Collecting, Zexhai repeated. Is that what you call it? What would you call it? Chen asked. Theft, Jorak said bluntly. Chen's expression didn't change. Commander, What happens to knowledge that stays locked away on individual worlds? Nothing. It doesn't benefit anyone except the species that developed it. But it belongs to them, Vesh protested. Does it? Chen asked. If a Kethmori scientist discovers a cure for a disease that affects all species, should only Kethmori benefit? If a Veltaran engineer develops better engines, should only Veltarans have faster ships? That's different, Thex said uncertainly. Is it? Chen walked to a data display that showed technological development across the galaxy. Since we began our coordination efforts, technological progress has increased by 400%. Medical advances are happening twice as fast. Space travel is safer and more efficient. For humans, Jorak said. For everyone, Chen corrected. Every improvement we make gets shared back to the galaxy, just not directly. What do you mean? Chen brought up another display. This one showed technology transfer patterns across galactic space. When a Veltaran ship visits a human-influenced system, they receive gifts. Better engines, improved computers, more efficient life support systems. Gifts with conditions, Vesh said. Gifts with benefits, Chen replied. The improved technology makes their ships more successful. They share the improvements with their home governments. Everyone benefits. And you learn more about Veltaran systems, Zexhai realized. Knowledge flows both ways, Chen said. That's how cooperation works. They reached a final observation deck. Through the windows, Zexhai could see the rescued research station being moved toward them. But now he understood the truth. Nixara isn't in danger, he said quietly. She never was, Chen confirmed. Research Station Kappa 9 has been working with us for months. Their accident was designed to bring a specific type of ship into our space. A medical ship, Vesh said. With a small crew, Jorak added. Carrying new Veltaran medical technology, Thex finished. Chen nodded approvingly. You're learning how we think. That's good. It will make the next part easier. What next part? Zexhai asked, though he was afraid he already knew. The part where you decide whether to join us permanently or return home with some new perspectives on galactic cooperation. And if we choose to return home? Chen's smile returned, but now Zexhai understood what it really meant. Then you'll return home as ambassadors for a new way of thinking about galactic unity. You'll carry with you gifts of improved technology and knowledge that will benefit your people. And you'll carry with us monitoring devices that let you watch everything we do, Jorak said. Coordination requires information, Chen said simply. But don't worry, you'll be happier with your new perspectives. Everyone is. Chen led them to a final chamber deep in the human ship. The walls were covered with historical displays showing the past 50 years of galactic events, but these displays told a different story than the one Zexhai knew. Before we discuss your future, Chen said, let me tell you about the real history of human galactic relations. The first display showed Earth as it was 50 years ago. A single world with primitive space technology. Ships that could barely reach their own moon. This is how the galaxy first met humanity, Chen explained. Weak, divided, no advanced technology, easy targets for conquest or exploitation. The next display showed the arrival of the first alien ships at Earth. Zaktul warships, Veltaran traders, and Kethmori exploration vessels. Each species had their own plans for humanity, Chen continued. The Zaktul wanted to conquer us. The Veltarans wanted to trade with us using unfair exchanges. The Kethmori wanted to study us like interesting animals. Jorak stepped closer to look at the military records. These reports, they're from Zaktul High Command. How did you get them? We took them, Chen said simply. Along with everything else. The display changed to show the first human-alien war. But this wasn't the story that Jorak had told Thex earlier. In this version, humans didn't just fight back. They absorbed everything. The Zaktul Empire attacked with 12 battle fleets, Chen said. They expected easy victory. Instead, they found humans who learned from every battle. The display showed human ships that started the war looking crude and weak. But with each battle, they became more sophisticated. They began using Zaktul weapons. Then improved Zaktul weapons, then weapons that were better than anything the Zaktul had ever seen. By the end of the war, we weren't fighting Zaktul ships, Chen said. We were fighting better versions of Zaktul ships. You reverse-engineered our technology, Jorak said, but his voice was uncertain. We improved your technology, Chen corrected. And then we offered it back to you. The next display showed the end of the human-Jaktul War. But instead of defeat or victory, it showed something else. Cooperation. The Jaktul Empire officially surrendered, Chen explained. But they also received new technology that made their remaining ships twice as powerful. Technology that helped them win conflicts with other species. You bought them, Vesh realized. We employed them, Chen said. The Jaktul are excellent warriors. They just needed better equipment and strategic guidance. The display shifted to show Veltaran contact with humanity. Again, the story was different from what Zexhai had been taught. The Veltaran Republic tried to establish trade relations with humanity. Chen continued. They offered us basic technology in exchange for raw materials and labor. Standard first contact protocols, Vesh said defensively. Exploitative first contact protocols, Chen corrected. You wanted to turn humanity into a resource extraction operation. The display showed how humans had responded to Veltaran trade offers. Instead of accepting unfair deals, they had studied Veltaran technology and improved it. Then they had offered better deals back to the Veltarans. Within 10 years, Veltaran ships were using human-improved engines, Chen said. Veltaran colonies were using human-designed life support systems. Veltaran trade routes were following human-optimized paths. But we're still independent, Vesh protested. Are you? Chen asked. She brought up a new display showing current Veltaran space. 70% of Veltaran technology now incorporates human improvements. 90% of Veltaran trade passes through human-influenced systems. Your government makes major decisions based on information provided by human sources. Zexhai felt sick as he realized what Chen was showing them. You didn't conquer the Veltaran Republic. You absorbed it. We integrated it, Chen said, just like we integrated the Jaktul Empire and the Kethmori research colonies. The display changed to show the Kethmori story. Zexhai's own people had approached humans as curious scientists. They had wanted to study human culture and technology. The Kethmori were the most honest in their intentions, Chen said. They really did want to learn, so we taught them everything. Everything? Thex asked. Physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, computer science, engineering. Chen smiled. Humans are excellent teachers. We shared centuries of scientific advancement with the Kethmori in just 5 years. What was the cost? Zexhai asked, knowing there had to be one. Knowledge sharing, Chen replied. Everything the Kethmori learned, they shared back with humanity. Every discovery, every breakthrough, every innovation. The display showed the result. Within a decade, Kethmori science had advanced faster than in the previous 1,000 years. But every advance had also been shared with humanity. The Kethmori became the most advanced scientific civilization in the galaxy, Chen said. They just didn't realize that humans had become even more advanced. Chen walked to the center of the chamber. Around them, displays showed the current state of the galaxy. But now Zexhai could see the truth behind the images. The red line, Chen said, isn't a border. It's a fiction. What do you mean? Thex asked. Every major galactic power maintains the pretense that human space is separate from their territory, Chen explained. They tell their people that humans are contained beyond the red line, that humans are no threat to galactic independence. But it's not true, Vesh said quietly. It's not true, Chen confirmed. Human influence extends throughout the galaxy. Human technology powers your ships. Human improvements enhance your weapons. Human guidance shapes your policies. The displays showed the real extent of human control, trade routes that seemed independent but followed human-designed patterns, military strategies that appeared to be developed by individual species but were actually coordinated by human advisors, scientific discoveries that looked like alien breakthroughs but were based on human research. Every species thinks they're making their own decisions, Chen said, but they're making the decisions that benefit galactic stability and human objectives. Why? Maintain the fiction? Jorak asked. Why not just openly rule the galaxy? Chen laughed. Because open rule creates resistance. Hidden influence creates cooperation. If the Jaktul knew that their military strategies were designed by humans, they would rebel. If the Veltarans knew that their trade policies were guided by human economists, they would resist. But this way, everyone thinks they're independent, Zexhai said. This way, everyone is happy, Chen corrected. The galaxy is more peaceful than it's ever been. Technology advances faster than ever before. Trade is more profitable. Science progresses more quickly. Everyone benefits. Everyone except free will, Jorak said bitterly. Free will to do what? Chen asked. Start wars? Make bad decisions? Waste resources on inefficient technologies? She gestured to the displays around them. The galaxy before human coordination was chaos. Species fought over resources that could be shared. They developed technologies in isolation instead of cooperating. They made decisions based on limited information instead of comprehensive analysis. And now? Vesh asked. Now the galaxy works, Chen said simply. Efficiently, peacefully, productively. Thex looked at the star charts showing human influence throughout galactic space. How many people know the truth? The truth about what? Chen asked with amusement. About human control. A few thousand humans, maybe 100 aliens in key positions. Chen paused. And now you. What happens to us now? Zexhai asked. Chen smiled the same pleasant, terrifying smile she had worn since their first meeting. You have the same choice everyone gets. Join us permanently and become part of the coordination effort. Or return home with modified memories and technological gifts. Modified how? Thex asked. You'll remember rescuing the research station, Chen explained. You'll remember a brief, polite encounter with human patrol ships. You'll remember humans, being helpful but distant. You won't remember this conversation. And the technological gifts? Improved medical supplies, better navigation systems, enhanced communication equipment. Chen paused. All of which will report information back to human monitoring stations. So either way, we become part of your network, Jorak said. Either way, you contribute to galactic stability, Chen replied. The only difference is whether you're conscious participants or unconscious ones. Zexhai looked at his crew. Thex seemed fascinated by the scope of human operations. Vesh looked terrified but thoughtful. Jorak looked angry but resigned. What, if we refuse both options? Zexhai asked. Chen's expression didn't change, but something cold flickered in her eyes. Captain, in 50 years no one has ever refused both options. But what if we did? Then you would learn why the galaxy prefers to cooperate with human coordination efforts, Chen said quietly. The chamber's displays changed to show massive human fleets hidden throughout galactic space. Weapons that could destroy star systems. Technologies that could shut down entire civilizations. The galaxy believes that humans are contained beyond the red line, Chen said. What the galaxy doesn't know is that humans could own everything beyond the red line within a week if we chose to. Then why don't you? Thex asked. Because ownership is less efficient than coordination, Chen replied. Slaves work harder when they think they're free. Zexhai closed his eyes and made his decision. When he opened them, Chen was still smiling.